You are listening to the Young Black Travelers podcast. Black voices talking on experiential travel, dedicated to creating a global community of travelers. So, be bold, be inspired, be spontaneous. We are YBT.
All right. welcome back. We are at our season closer, the finale.
Season finale.
Look at us. We are here. We have Mr. Cunningham,
Wow.
Asshur.
I am here and Miss Gordon.
Yes, I am here. We are going to be talking about some of our travels. Well, particularly your travel, your big travel.
Big trip.
Excursions on excursions, experiences on experiences that you were able to do for this end of the year. And so kind of just fill us in. Tell us where did you go?
Yes, Simone. So I think when we were in the last season, when you guys did the opener, you and Tony, and I was asking you guys where you guys were going to go. Well, I guess you guys did wrap up Korea.
We did.
And I said, I think at that time we were talking about, should I go to Europe? And I think I talked about Germany because we were thinking at a particular month.
Oh, yeah, for October.
Yes. And so I think after that conversation, you said, just go to Asia.
Right.
Because when I thought through the reason why Asia made sense for this trip, I was like, Europe is always there. It's quick getaway. We could do that on a weekend.
Yes.
And so that's why I decided to go to Asia for this trip. It was going to be 3 weeks. And I thought that because of the time difference, the distance, it made sense to head to Asia for this trip. So I went to South Korea, Hong Kong, Macau, Vietnam, and Philippines.
Wow.
Boracay, Philippines.
Okay. And I know a lot of backpackers, they love kind of doing that Southeast Asia journey, particularly those countries because it's so close together, easy to travel, and very cost effective. So can you tell us what was something for you that was like one quick highlight, just a quick highlight for you?
Yeah, quick highlight. I would say the food.
Yeah.
The food in that region is delicious. It's diverse. You do get a lot of ramen. But when you do think of the food in, let's say, Korea and Japan compared to food in like Philippines and Vietnam, it's different, but they're all connected.
Correct.
Connected. So I would say food. I really enjoyed the food.
And you know we love to eat. So that is a good place for us to continue this conversation. I'm excited. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick, short break.
See you in a bit.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. We have Asshur here. He's talking about his trips to Southeast Asia. We left off on some food, and you can see we got some drinks.
Come on,
cheers. Yes. Since we're talking about food, you gotta have some drinks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that in that region, there's a lot of cultural diversity in terms of food and the dishes. So what were some of those dishes that you tried that you really enjoyed? Did you take any risk?
No. So no risk. I because before I went, people were saying like, oh, you should, over there they eat like different type of exotic foods that we won't have, like crickets and different things.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't seen that.
Okay.
But some of the foods that I tried, I would say in Korea, and we talked about that one on the last episode.
Yeah.
When you and Tony went, Korean fried chicken.
Okay.
You
Excellent.
guys, so let me say, the first time I tried Korean fried chicken, I was a little bit surprised as to what I should be getting.
Okay. All right.
because when I got it, in my mind, I was supposed to be getting chicken wings and maybe
Yes. Right. That's the
the flats
idea.
and the drumstick in my
Correct.
mind from an American
Me too.
perspective.
Me too.
So when the lady bring the plate,
the
it was
pop-
like a whole chicken that was cut up, and I was like, "Wow, is this how it's supposed to be?"
Okay.
But then I later learned that that's how it was supposed to be, and I've had it there like twice, and it's really good, sticky. There was the last place I went, there was a line,
Oh,
and
wow.
this was more so close to the airport region because there's another thing I guess we could get into that later, but in Korea, the airport is not close to is not close to
Correct.
Seoul, and
Right.
people need to talk about that. That
Right. It's a journey.
it's a journey.
Yes.
Most people think that it's Seoul, Incheon. The airport is in Incheon,
Right. They
And
just
in-
added Seoul to it. Yes.
Yes, it is, and it's like 2 hours away.
And that's 2 hours. And when we were coming into South Korea, we did the train. And we did
There's a train from the airport.
that goes into Seoul.
Oh, you see, I didn't know
And
that.
so we did the train journey that was like a little over 2 hours. So it took us a while with our suitcases up and down escalators. And their stairs, I should say, is a lot. Like New York City subway doesn't do it. Those stairs are easy.
Yeah.
So we did the train, but going back, we did a private driver.
Yeah, I did. Well, usually when I drop into a city, I'm trying to think through maybe Uber or public transportation option, and then I recognize, this public transportation is a lot. That's when it dawned on me,
It's not close.
and so that I had to get a taxi, and then the taxi prices are extremely expensive, and I'm like, you see, I wish people talked about this because I didn't know,
Yeah.
this was what it was, but. Other than that, the other dish I would really recommend. So that was Korean fried chicken.
Yeah.
But when I was in Vietnam, pho.
Pho.
Oh, pho.
Yeah. Tell us, what is that?
So pho has actually been trending on like TikTok. People have been talking about it over here, but I really didn't know people were talking about it until I had it. But pho is a Vietnamese dish that is basically like ramen with the broth, and it has a lot of like leaves, herbs, leaves in there, and I had pho honestly by accident because when I got into Vietnam initially, I was a little bit sick on my first night.
Okay.
And so I asked the lady at the hotel, what should I eat to help me? And she said, well, maybe you should order pho.
Oh.
And in my mind, I'm like, pho, okay, let me try it.
Yeah.
And then when it came, it came because I think I did Grab. So Grab is like their Uber over there. And so Grab delivered. And so when it came, like the broth came separate, the leaves came separate, all of that. And I put it all together. But there was a lot of leaves. It was like shadambini, I think, that was in there. And a lot of leaves, some leaves that are common to us. But I think, so I woke up the next morning feeling great.
Oh.
I'm assuming the leaves had medicinal value. And yeah, pho isn't really heavy, but it was really a nice dish.
Right.
So that was Vietnam pho. And the other thing that stands out to me is in Hong Kong, they have this thing called, milk tea is a thing they do.
Okay.
But I guess Hong Kong is known for milk tea. I mean, it's black tea with milk, but I think it's the way they make it. So I enjoyed milk tea. But when you're in Hong Kong, they have these different types of teas that you could buy on the road. Like they're shops that like cafes that you could buy teas, and they're good.
Yeah.
Like,
did you have what
like
teas?
iced tea, and it's different. It's not. So think like you're getting your latte.
Okay.
But they have like, you could stop by these shops and get like different types of teas that are just really good. Mint tea. And they'll ask you things like, do you want it more sweet or less sweet or normal?
Like that. Yes. I like that. Actually, when me and my friend we drove recently to upstate New York,
Mm-hmm.
to Hudson region, and there was a matcha shop, and they had that option:
Wow.
normal, less sweetened, or more. And I love that. I was like,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty good
Yes,
option.
yes. So, was there anything else that you found from the other regions that you really enjoyed?
No, I would say those were the things that stood out to me. Um, one of the things I would say, particularly in Hong Kong, and I loved Hong Kong, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, but in Hong Kong, cafes are a big thing.
Okay.
And so you, I mean, you could get everything at the Hong Kong cafe. So
Mm-hmm.
if you go, when you go, definitely try to like go to one of the cafes. There's a famous cafe, and I'll put all of this information out in my vlog and in the blog that will come out with this
Mm-hmm.
episode. But cafes is a big thing in Hong Kong. And of course, you should be trying to like your authentic
Correct.
Chinese food.
Correct.
Like I had duck. I
Love some
had,
duck.
it wasn't my favorite.
No, isn't like chicken.
But yeah, no, I didn't love the duck that I have.
I
But
like it.
what I would say I enjoyed was their their spring roll
Okay.
is so different. I think it's like with rice whatever it is
Like
on
the
the
wrap?
outside. The
Uh-huh.
wrap is rice, and it's a different from
Okay.
like what we have.
Mhm.
Ours is very flowery.
Yes.
Theirs
Uh-huh.
it's like light.
Very light. Okay.
It was so
It
good.
changes it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're making me hungry. But that sounds good. And I know that's one way for people to explore cultures is through the cuisine. Right, to know how the different traditions and generations prepare the thing, how cultures mix. So that's the one way for if you're listening or you're watching, try different cuisines, try the
Yeah.
food. Okay, so good. All right, so we know you went to a couple of different places while you was out there. So can you just tell us what were some of the surprising cultural differences?
Wow, that's a good question. Wow, I haven't thought about that. But what I would say
Yeah.
is I had more shocks in Korea and certainly Philippines.
Okay, why?
Um in the Philippines, I think what was shocking, and it's probably not a cultural thing,
Okay.
but what was shocking to me was the fact that as a black man, I felt I like Philippines, I shouldn't be like the abnormal. Like people were coming up to me asking for pictures
Yes.
in
the
Philippines, and I
Okay.
was surprised.
Yeah.
I remember I was in the when I was, because I went to Boracay, and when I'm in the taxi going to the hotel, the lady who was sitting next to me, we didn't talk at
Yeah.
all, and I guess she didn't speak English,
Mhm.
but she was like, she'd hold up her phone, picture. She's holding it up, and I'm understanding that she wants to take a picture, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yes.
And then as I'm walking the streets, you know, young men would come up to me and want to take pictures. They probably thought I was like a basketball player or
Right,
something like that. And in my mind, wow, I don't think I'm that tall. But remember, Philippines people are also very short.
Right. Mhm.
So like these are cultural things that I'm recognizing as I am going through like Boracay, Philippines. And
Yeah.
so that's one thing that was shocking.
You know what I've noticed too? I had a conversation with a friend recently about that. Like in South Korea, like people are still asking to take your picture, and you're thinking 2024, a lot more people from the diaspora is traveling. So they see us, but I was trying to explain like maybe it's not necessarily that they never encountered a person of color or a black person before or African American, but it's still an intrigue of like, I don't see you very often.
you're
So you're
different.
just different. So let me take a picture with you. Not that I didn't see a person with your skin complexion
Correct.
before. So I feel like it's more like that.
Yeah.
And wanting to learn and understand, especially when it comes to black women here,
Yeah.
and they want to touch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit more of that because it's hard to explain, as you said, like, what's going on here?
No, you're right. I've said this many times. I don't take it as a disrespect when Asians particularly would come up and ask for pictures. And this is like the first time that that has happened to me
Okay.
in all my travels.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that, as you said, it is a thing of not being exposed fully. Like black people, like we live around black people. We may see other races amongst us.
Right.
So we are exposed. And so we understand. But when you think about them, all they may see is Filipinos. All they may see are Koreans.
Right.
And they may see one or two and they may
Right.
see on TV. But it's different when you are in the room with a particular
Correct.
person.
Correct.
So you are right. And I've never really taken it as a disrespect. But I would also say in Korea, what was shocking to me and culturally, I think Koreans are like New Yorkers.
Yes.
Very fast paced.
Very fast paced.
They mind their business. So I
Yes.
didn't get anybody come up to me in Korea asking for a picture because I was probably in Seoul.
Uh-huh.
But I feel they're very free too. Like they are, when you think of Koreans compared to Japanese, Japanese people are like all about their business, all about their money. They're fast paced. They're not paying you any like they're going to work. You see, like they move like sometimes seem like in unison. Like the Japanese man is dressed corporate, like he has a way he's dressed and walks and goes to work. In Korea, it seems like
Right.
they're a bit more loose.
Yes.
And like they're a bit more fun loving. So like when I went out in the night, I'm seeing Koreans just like you have these
Oh, yes.
people on the street in New
Yes,
York
like a
dancing.
Times Square,
Yes.
like high energy, out late night.
Out late night.
Like it was like 12 a.m. and the party is just starting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and my friend who was there, shout out to you, Bria. Bria showed me the difference. Like
Right.
she recognized, and I saw it as well. Like Japanese people, they are more about their business. And even when you think about educationally wise, right? Like Japanese people are very serious about like learning versus not that Koreans are not. Koreans, it seems like they are more like, okay, we take life in ease, you know,
Okay.
like we're more laid
There's
back.
a balance. We can
There's a
party.
balance,
You want to
yeah.
enjoy, but there's also that time
Yeah.
to work and there's a time to play.
Yes. So that's so Korea, yeah, that's the vibe I got.
That's good. Yes, I saw that too. I was like, okay. Party time. I love that. So what did you have any experiences that you felt like were off the beaten path that wasn't very traditional for you, like in Vietnam or anywhere that you went?
Yeah, I would say in Vietnam,
Yeah.
certainly.
Okay.
So Vietnam in many ways took me by surprise in
Why is that?
a lot of ways.
Mhm. Good, bad.
So initially when I got to Vietnam, I was a bit so maybe because I was sick, so I
Yeah.
really didn't like it on the first day.
Okay.
Maybe because I was sick. There was a lot of bikes that was getting to me.
Okay.
But other than that, Vietnam is really good. But what took me by surprise, I think, was the fact that we learned about the Vietnam War, but I don't think in our minds as Americans, the impacts is as
Right.
real to us
Okay.
as it is to Vietnamese
Correct.
people. And so for me, you know, as a Caribbean American man who have learned about the Vietnam War in school, but kind of like, you know, it's at the back of my mind. I really don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Going there and kind of like all I am hearing is the Vietnam War. Like they'll say the American War.
Ah.
That took me a lot by surprise. And so now off the beaten path experience. So I had to do a tour of
Yes.
the they call, I think, Chi Chi tunnels.
Okay.
So these are the tunnels that the Vietnam guerrilla used during the war.
Okay.
And so obviously we didn't go through all the tunnels, but like I got to go into some of the tunnels.
Wow.
I got to go into the forest or the jungle. I got to shoot guns.
Okay.
That was a really good experience. So that was, and it was an off the beaten path experience, which people don't think about, right?
Right.
And so, and it was on that experience, and like when I went to the museum, that I'm hearing like the American War. And so
American
think
War.
about you as an American. all you're thinking is like, oh crap, I wonder how they're perceiving me in this moment. Like, because especially when you don't have, like, you forgot, you don't have much context in the
Right.
moment, you're kind of like, oh boy,
Right.
what should I say? What should I do? I don't want to come off like the foolish American
Right.
who doesn't care about other people's feelings. Clearly, they keep saying the American war.
Right.
Like, that's all I'm hearing. And some people may have good opinions of it, and some people may have bad opinions about it. But I would definitely say, do that experience in Vietnam, and they have others. I didn't have a lot of time.
How long did you stay there?
I was there for 3 days.
Okay.
And some of it, like another off the beaten path experience, which I would highly recommend, is to get your suits made. Vietnam is known as like the tailor capital of the world, they say.
Okay.
And there are tailors everywhere. And so you could get suits made at different price points or dresses.
Okay.
You can get suits made for as cheap as $50, 100, 200, and more.
Oh, wow.
And like the suits can be made, like I got my suit made in 2 days.
Wow.
And I remember going on the second day to fit my suit, and then I saw a blazer, and I'm like, oh, I want that. Should I get it?
Yeah.
And I decided to get it, and he made it in a day.
Wow.
Good quality
That's
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah. So those are experiences that I certainly would recommend.
And I love that you did that too. You took the time to kind of learn about the history, right? And the interaction between both countries that you come from and Vietnam as well, and what that history is and the legacy that has lasted. I think they probably appreciated you even being on that tour, right? As an American coming from New York City and doing that. So I think there might have been an appreciation, because maybe a lot of people don't take the time to learn from their perspective, right? Because everybody does have a perspective, especially when we talk about war, right? And power.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that perspective and that experience that you shared for listeners to do. Yeah, that's awesome. And so I'm gonna go as well into kind of like the nature, right? You went to Hong Kong. You mentioned South Korea. That is very like city focused, right? When you think about Seoul, but you also went into like the Philippines, which is more nature based, I'm guessing, in terms of like the scenic. So can you talk to us a little bit about like what did you enjoy about those two perspectives that you saw, being in nature, being in the city? Did you have a preference, and like how did you spend your time in both of those places? And if you can bring in Macau, you said Macau. And I'm guessing, is that more kind of nature?
No.
Macau. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So listen, I mean, I'm giving you my itinerary. I flew, and I think this is an itinerary that I think works.
Okay.
And actually, I spent time actually refining where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. Particularly like how it's going to flow, and I decided to do that, like flying to Korea, then to Hong Kong, then to Macau, come back to Hong Kong, go to Vietnam, then to Philippines, and then back to Korea to get back to the US, because it just made sense geographically.
Okay.
Yes, you are right. There are the dynamics of the city versus not so city.
Yeah.
Those are the places I went.
Okay.
And the reason why I also laid out my trip that way was because I knew the other places which were the cities. I was going to do a lot of exploration. I was going to be walking a lot. I was going to be exploring the monster house in Hong Kong, and then go into Victoria Peak, and all of these places are places I think you should be seeing, and then just walking around Korea and doing different things. So I knew that was going to be like my first leg of the trip.
Okay.
And so before I get to my last trip, Macau, I added in because, again, it's another autonomous territory region of China, just like Hong Kong is. And I would highly recommend that you learn about the histories of these regions. Don't go to Hong Kong saying that you're in China, because there is a rich history there. Hong Kong people don't see themselves as Chinese. Macau people may closer, but they are not, right? They are like, there's a deep political history there. So look at that.
Okay.
Hong Kong people see themselves as Hong Kongers. So does people from Macau. But Macau is not the no jungle. It is Macau is actually known as the gambling capital of the world.
Oh.
In Macau, their revenue is higher than Vegas.
Oh, wow.
It is the city of dreams. It is very artificial. Most of the places, so there are places you will go that they're probably like some local Macau culture, but a lot of places. So think Vegas on a larger scale.
Okay.
That's Macau, like
Okay.
on a larger scale.
Okay.
Money is in Macau, just like money is in Hong Kong. Like when I went to Hong Kong, I was like, they got money here.
Money. Okay.
This is money. Like I'm talking about all the high-end cars.
Yes.
Like you're seeing them everywhere. And so is Macau because like you're seeing all the high-end malls, the brands, everything in Macau. And so that's what Macau is known for. But then I decided to go to the Philippines last. And remember when you go to the Philippines is so large
Yes.
that if you're going to spend maybe some time in Philippines, you could go to different places and different regions.
Right.
But for me, I only had a week and I wanted like this last week to be like my laid back relaxation week. And so I wanted a beach paradise.
All right.
And so that's why I chose Boracay.
Okay.
Or Boracay. There are other places you can go. Like I think there's this popular place called Palawan that a lot of people talk about. But there are many different places you can go. And so it's very different. Like Boracay is very laid back.
Yeah.
It's very laid back. It's beach. The hotel. So I stayed at a hotel there. It wasn't a resort, but a hotel. Oasis Boracay.
Yes. What was the price
Best.
like?
So I paid about $90
A week?
for a night.
Oh, per night.
Per
Okay.
night. And I was in the suite.
Ooh.
Suite.
Okay.
It was, now they probably upgraded me a few times
Yeah.
because let me also tell you guys when I when I got to Boracay.
Is it story time?
It's story time.
Okay.
I did not know that, and of course I wouldn't like you're not doing this like I wasn't thinking about typhoons. So I'm in Vietnam and I'm on the excursion in the forest shooting guns and we're getting back, and by this time we're warmed up, and so I'm speaking to the other people on the trip. One of them came from Philippines, and she's like, I tell him I'm going to the Philippines tomorrow, and she's like, there is a typhoon there, right?
Yeah.
And she said it. I didn't even pay her any attention because in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm going to the Philippines. I'm thinking Sunsea sand. I'm great.
Yes.
But it hit me that night. It hit me when I got to my hotel and I see that my airline, Cebu Pacific, give me the option to push back my flight. I said, oh, okay. It's real. I was happy for that because I could spend a little more time in Vietnam because I needed to now. I had a little bit more things to do, so it helped me.
Okay.
I pushed it back, and then I got to Boracay. Again, we're right by the beach. I'm telling you. So I was trying to like cancel everything, but it wasn't working because certainly Cebu Pacific wasn't probably going to give me my money back, and I needed to get back to Korea anyway.
Correct.
So it just wasn't gonna work, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go and let's see what happens. Hopefully, I don't die on this excursion going into the storm.
Yeah, going into the storm.
I get to the hotel. Obviously, when I got there, it's wet. I was so like out of it. I didn't even recognize that the island I was landing on was a separate island from where I was going because the airport is in Catalan, not on Boracay, and you have to take a transfer. Like all of these things weren't registering to me. I was so upset. But nonetheless, I got to the hotel. It's wet, but by nightfall, I'm telling you, I saw lightning. I heard thunder. It was raining. The pool was overflowing. And I'm like, oh my God, is this gonna stop? Am I gonna have my death here in the Philippines? I was so nervous. And it was it was loud.
Wow.
So I think, but that was the last night of it being at its worst.
Okay.
The weather give up now and again, but for the majority of my time in the Philippines, like it rained. Like there was this beautiful beach that was highly recommended. I remember going there on the last day.
Yeah. You got to do it again.
I have to go back
Yes.
because it started raining. I certainly was not going in the water.
Right.
You know, there were
right.
some people in the water.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all, listen, I come from the Caribbean. I come from right by the beach. One of the things we know is
Yes.
like during storms, during rough weather, when it's raining, we ain't going in the water.
No, it's
because
just to look at.
It's just to look at because that's when the water is at its
Right.
worst.
Right.
Like things could happen in an instant. So don't go in nobody's water and close to rivers.
Right.
Those are the worst places to be, at the beach when
Right.
it's raining and close to a river, because
Can sweep you.
the river can sweep you. So but it was beautiful nonetheless. I enjoyed my time there. It was like relaxation.
I love that.
Even in the storm, there was peace.
Even in the storm,
There's
yes,
peace.
there is peace. I
That's a
love
word.
that. That's a word. That's a word.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Come on. My offering basket is out front. Even in the storm.
Even in the
there is
storm,
peace.
there is peace. That's a word for somebody right there. And I'm glad that you were able to have that relaxation. That's a nice way to end a vacation.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we go on vacation, needing a vacation when we come
Yeah.
back. So adding that to your last leg was really good, right?
Yeah.
And how it played out. So I'm glad you got to see, you got to be able to experience that. And now you have to just go back.
I have to go back.
You have to go
Yeah.
back, yes. But it sounded like you had an amazing experience on this three week
3 weeks.
experience doing
5
it solo.
countries.
5 countries, y'all, in 3 weeks.
Solo.
That's impressive, and solo as well. And so we will be right back. But before we come back, I wanted to give you the floor if there's anything that we didn't get to talk about that you wanted to mention that was either a highlight or recommendation for our listeners, anything that you wanted to include.
Yeah, I would say the last part you were touching on was solo. I think my recommendation is to do a solo trip. You know, take a solo trip. I know it can be a little bit nerve-wracking at first. People are kind of like, oh my God, what am I going to be taken? Like all of these thoughts, especially Black people.
And it's real.
It's real.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, it is one of the most therapeutic thing. And if you could literally follow this exact itinerary, because I feel this was a journey that was solo worthy. And so I just felt at peace.
Yes.
Because for 3 weeks, I was with me. I was thinking about me. I was thinking about plans. I was praying. I was reading. I was writing. I was reflecting. I could think.
That's beautiful.
I moved when I wanted to move. I didn't hear people next to me talking. When you're on group trips, you know, and especially if you're sharing room with people, or even if you're not, you guys are moving at a certain point.
Correct.
Usually on group trips, we're going out to breakfast at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's expected everybody is at breakfast.
Everybody is there at 10 a.m. And if you're not there, you're going to hear it.
Right.
You are always the one who's late. You blah, blah, blah. And then when the bill comes around at dinner time, you hear all sorts of story.
Yes.
But imagine being by yourself. You could go, and bars are a great place to meet people. You walk into a bar, you walk into an event. People are usually have been talking to me on this trip. If I needed to take pictures, videos, those were times that I'm connecting with people. If you're out there dating, Tinder works. You know, I would also suggest that.
Yes.
Though on this trip, you know, I wasn't as open, but it was something that I did explore.
Okay.
And I've explored it traveling.
Yes.
You know, I've looked at Tinder, and Tinder has worked in many different places.
Oh, okay. Met some meetings.
Well, yes, I've actually met up on Tinder before in Colombia.
Wow.
So it has worked.
Okay.
And there are places that I do know it works.
Okay.
But I say all of this to say, again, I'm also speaking from a male perspective, and I know females are gonna be a little bit
or like
hesitant to do a lot of things, and I recommend that you be cautious, but nonetheless take solo journeys, take solo trips. Try at least to do it once.
I agree with that. I think it has been some of my best travels that I have done and experience, as you said, like you learn about yourself, right? You know what you're made of, your strength, and things that you experience. You might be like, wow, I really handled that.
Yeah.
Or it becomes a learning experience. And the
Yeah.
stories too that you take from it is invaluable. So invaluable, I should say. So also I highly recommend doing it.
Yeah. So solo trip. Hopefully you can put one on your list for 2025.
Yes.
And again, this exact itinerary, South Korea, Seoul, or wherever you decide. I did want to go to Busan, but South Korea, Hong Kong, I highly recommend you go to Hong Kong. Highly recommend Hong Kong.
Yes.
Vietnam, I highly recommend you go to Vietnam. And it's a large country. So Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi, there's a lot to see in Vietnam and a lot of places to go. Macau, I won't suggest that you stay. Like it's a good day or an overnight trip.
Okay.
And if you're in Hong Kong, it just makes sense to go. There's the ferry goes there.
Okay.
Or you could drive there. So Macau, and then the Philippines is also a large country. But in the Philippines, I didn't spend a lot of time in Manila, but a lot of people certainly recommend just going to the other places and not Manila.
Got it. Kind of just
Manila is crazy.
you kind of just go in, see it for the day, and then kind of go somewhere else.
Oh, and trust me, you know it's crazy because in that airport on that first day, woo, girl.
Yeah.
It was, I've never waited over an hour for my bag from baggage claim.
Wow.
But again, the storm, it was probably also the storm.
That's
They
true.
maybe were
Right.
short staffed. I don't know. But that was my experience. I was waiting for over an hour for my bag. You couldn't get onto any customer service. It was really bad. But yeah.
You made it, and you're able to talk to us on this couch. So that's the important part. You came back from the storm.
From the storm.
From
There's
the storm.
peace in the storm.
In the storm. All right, y'all.
The storm.
Yeah. So we will be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to YBT. We are here speaking with Asher on our podcast today. And so we are just wrapping up, but you know what we always have to do? We got to do our shout out. So who we shouting out, Asher?
Yeah, so I'm going to shout out today, or we're shouting out today, a very good friend of mine. In fact, Sabria lives in South Korea now with her husband. She is an army wife and her 2 kids.
Oh, beautiful.
We actually met in the CCNY Gospel Choir.
Oh, nice.
And so it was really good to see Bria while I was in Korea with her family. Oh my God.
That's beautiful.
And they live in Korea. And so, you know, if you're ever in that neck of the woods or you really want some advice of what to do, we have experts that could help you. You know, Tony,
Yes.
you know, who's a part of YBT can help you. But Bria is also another good source of information and advice. And so you can hit her up on Instagram. And by the way, you go to her page and you'll probably see her blog that she's starting with her family. Oh my God, it's beautiful. We had Korean barbecue while we were there.
Yes, love some good Korean barbecue.
Some really good Korean barbecue. But her Instagram is Bria Alexis 1130. That's BRIAALEXIS 1130. And so just check her out on Instagram.
Yes, awesome. So thanks for that. That sounds like good. A person who will have good advice for if you're planning to visit.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. And so we're gonna close out with a game.
Whoa! It's game time.
It is game
time.
Sing it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, so this is a little bit different. I played it once before, so I'm gonna try it again.
Let me sip up to get ready for this game. You probably hear the cup.
It's really good. Can you tell us what's in this? What you mixed
Listen,
into this?
so in this, as you guys know, I'm Vincentian, and so I use some Vincentian rum called Sparrow, which is a dark rum, and I love Sparrow. And this is an already made juice mixed from BJ's that I think has mango, peach, passion fruit. So it's a mixture. So it was just easy to combine.
So good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cheers.
All right. Okay. So how this is gonna go? You've been to 5 countries.
5 countries.
And you're gonna just tell us
on this trip.
And so you're just gonna tell us which one you would recommend for the different categories that I'm gonna tell you. Remind the people your 5 countries.
Okay, 5 countries: South Korea, Hong Kong, Macau, Vietnam, Philippines.
Okay, so it has to be one of those. All right,
Okay.
ready? Okay, so which country for food? Only
Country
one.
for food. Oh.
Yes, one. Where should the people go if they're trying to eat? I think I know what you're gonna
Vietnam.
do. Really? Okay, I'm a little surprised, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Why?
I think like I've had some really good dishes while I was in Vietnam, and I stumbled on them, like as I said, pho. And I hadn't had the full gamut. Vietnamese coffee is like spectacular. And then I also tried that exclusive coffee from the civet cat, which the cat, eats the beans and then poops it out. Very expensive coffee that you would probably pay $100 a cup.
Wow.
Probably one of my most expensive bag of coffee that I bought. $50, I think, for like a quarter or something like that. So I think the food, Vietnam is known for like diverse dishes, but dishes specific to Vietnam.
Okay.
And so that's why I would say Vietnam.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Which country? Scenic landscapes.
Scenic landscapes. Well, I would have to speak from my current perspective on this trip,
Yes.
because Vietnam has a lot of scenic landscape.
Well, based on what you were able to experience.
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Hong
Okay.
Kong.
What were those scenic landscapes?
So by the way, Hong Kong is very like hilly.
Okay.
And I went on like up to this peak, Victoria's Peak, and then you stay up on Victoria Peak. I saw the sunset there, and then I had dinner up there. But when you look down into the city, and then you're also seeing all these skyscrapers on mountains and hills, because there's a lot, which was crazy to me.
Yeah.
That there's skyscrapers on mountains and in hills, because they're also short for space. And so that was extremely beautiful. So from my vantage point on this trip,
I
Hong
love
Kong.
that. These are some different answers than I was expecting, but
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Okay. Easy to move around.
Easy to move around, I would say South Korea.
South Korea. Okay. Because train, buses,
Yeah.
everything, right? Okay.
I could only say one.
Yes. Only
South
one.
Korea.
Okay. For relaxation.
Philippines.
Philippines, yes, you went to the beach.
I had massages there too. Like, I had one of the best massage I've had in my life in the Philippines.
Really nice.
Like, it was this think movie like scenes out of a movie, like a spa, a natural spa with like serene music. You walk in, you step into your own room, and there is like this lake in the middle, and then your masseuse meets you at the door. The masseuse closed it. Like, it was out of a movie.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I also had some sketchy massages like throughout this trip, but
Wow. Was it the location or the hands?
it was probably the technique of how they were being done that I was like, oh, okay. I also had like in Hong Kong, I was knocked out for one of those massage, like the feet massage.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming like there are pressure points that they hit when I walked in to the spot. I'm telling you, I saw this guy. This guy was knocked out.
Really?
And in my mind, I'm like, are you that stressed? Are you
Like
that
what's happening
like
here?
I'm like, yeah, what's happening? The masseuse is working on his leg, and he's like, he's covered up,
Really?
and I'm like, what's happening? This doesn't make sense.
Right.
Simone, I tell you, by the end of the massage, I was that guy.
You was that guy. Somebody else was walking in, probably saying, "What's up with
I
this?"
can't tell you when I went out, but I was out. God.
Wow. And how do your feet feel?
My feet feel good. It hurt the next day, but
It felt good.
it felt good.
Okay, and you got a good sleep.
Mhm.
All right, so let's talk about for adventure.
Adventure. Ooh. Adventure. I would say maybe Philippines.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think they are more tourist focused.
Okay.
So from that in that regard where they would have, because I dived in the Philippines.
Oh.
Yeah,
That must have been so beautiful.
yeah, it's the second time diving, not no snorkeling.
Yes.
Like the
went
tube
down.
on your back, you're going down, seeing a turtle, a large turtle down there, like
Yeah.
all of these things. So I would say Philippines because of that experience and others. Like I think there's a lot of touristy things to do,
Okay.
and so that's why
Okay.
I would say that.
I love that. All right. So budget.
Budget,
Budget friendly.
certainly not Korea and certainly not Hong Kong.
Yes, certainly not.
So I would say Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Mhm.
Okay. So we have some Vietnams going
Yeah.
on there. And for solo travel.
Solo travel. Well, I mean, all of it, but
One. When you think about a first time traveler and they have maybe one country that you visited for a first time traveler.
so
Solo.
for first time travel, this is what because first time travelers I think travelers are a little bit more reluctant, scared. So I would say South Korea
I would agree.
or Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Because the others, I think, are for more experienced travelers who have their inhibitions removed and they can do anything.
They're open.
They're open.
Right.
So yes, South Korea or Hong Kong, and I know I could only choose one, but I
Yeah.
think either of those are good introduction.
Okay, we love that.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to do one more.
Okay.
All right. So, what would you say for a unique experiences, one country? You don't want to do the typical, something unique. Like you're like, wow, like everybody should probably do this. Which country?
Vietnam.
Vietnam. The tunnel.
The tunnels.
Okay.
There's a lot more, like a lot that I didn't get to do. When you also think about getting your suit made, when you think about the coffee that I mentioned, when you think about, like, again, I went to Ho Chi Minh, which is in the south. That's very different from like Hanoi, which you are going to get like, it's more traditional, authentic. And then Vietnam has all of these like some beautiful beach areas.
Yeah.
You could also do like rice farms in Vietnam.
That's
like
true.
it is in Vietnam, you could do a lot. So I went there for a few days. You could do Vietnam for a month and explore different parts.
Okay.
So I would say Vietnam.
Would you return?
I would. I want to go back.
You want to go back?
I want to go back
take
and get a few suits made.
Yes, I want a few dresses. So let me know when you're going.
I will.
Okay,
I will.
Thank you. All right, y'all. So that's a wrap.
Yes, a wrap of season 10.
Yes, we did it. We're here.
Wow.
So thank you, Asher.
Wait, but before we go, Simone, where are you going to next?
I knew you was coming. I knew you was coming with that. So I think one that I know of, in February, I'm going to be going on a cruise.
Okay.
We're going to do Aruba.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, the cruise is going to Aruba?
The cruise is going to Aruba.
Leaving from where?
Miami.
Okay.
So this is my first cruise, y'all. So I'm excited, a little nervous because I don't know how I'm going to deal with like just being on the sea for a few days without no land. I like to see land, but I'm excited for it. And I'm kind of open for possibilities for the rest of 2025. But
Okay.
I do want maybe South Africa. But I know that's what is already planned. What is already planned is that
Okay,
cruise.
that cruise.
What about you?
Well, what is planned, certainly need to get my plane ticket, but I would say DR. I've been there before, so
Right.
it's not a new place.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to DR in February, and the rest of the year is open. As you said, I really want to do. I've been talking about South Africa for the longest.
You have.
So I really believe 2025 is my year of South Africa. We're doing South Africa in 2025.
2025.
Yes.
Okay, we
South
just did
Africa.
it. Oh,
Touch
okay,
and agree.
all right.
It's happening
Okay.
2025.
There
We will not speak about it any
Oh
longer.
my gosh.
We are going to do it.
there we go. It's happening.
It's
Just like when
sealed.
me and Tony, we said South Korea, we couldn't let the year pass,
This
y'all.
podcast, things happen on this podcast.
Things happen when you say it.
Yes. So we put it in the atmosphere here.
Put it in.
And
All right.
it
Up
is
to
done.
God. It is done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we'll be speaking on South Africa.
Season 10 has allowed us to agree on South Africa.
There we go. All right.
For the
Love
wrap
it.
up.
The wrap up. All right. Awesome. But thank you all for listening to our podcast today. Asher, thank you again for coming out and just telling us about Southeast Asia and all those wonderful experiences. Again, we're going to be sharing the information, those tours that you can also visit, the name of the foods as well to check out. And so remember to follow us on all social media platforms. And if you want any merch, please reach out. You can DM us, right? We're on Facebook, right? We're on Instagram.
Young Black Travelers blog.
Yes, we're on Threads. And you can check us out on our website as well.
youngblacktravelers.com.
Yes. And so again, be safe while you're out here traveling. And we hope to see you again in 2025.
2025.
Let's
Cheers
see
to
what
season 10.
Cheers.
A great wrap.
That's a wrap, y'all.
It's a wrap.
See y'all.
See ya.